Hello friends, welcome to our channel Knowledge Amplifier. So today in this particular video, we are going to explore how we can run Python code in GitHub Actions. So often we configure GitHub workflows for our CI/CD pipeline or for our DevOps purpose in our real world projects, right? Now, sometime we might need to call some external API, or maybe we need to parse some complex JSON data and extract certain values out of it. Now, in those kind of cases, working with shell script might become little difficult for many developers, especially for those who are very comfortable in working with request module or dictionary data in Python. They can easily solve those problems using Python, but generally we have to solve using shell script and all. But instead of doing those activities using shell script or in some other way, if we can write our own Python code which can perform those activities within GitHub Action, that will be surely helpful for us, right? So today basically in this particular video, we are going to explore that within our GitHub Action, how we can run Python code to perform certain activities in our CI/CD pipelines. Okay. And for this particular discussion, I am going to refer my Snake video tutorial where basically I have explained you how you can incorporate Snake in your GitHub CI/CD pipeline and perform code repository scanning for any vulnerability presence or not, for those kind of checking, right? So that particular video is a must prerequisite to understand this video. So I'll be providing the video link in the description box, and I will request you to go through that particular video first. Then only you will be able to understand these particular concepts, whatever I am going to explain in this video, in a better way. Okay. So basically this is my Snake platform where I have integrated already with my this particular GitHub account. Now I need to import a repository. So here in this particular video, I am going to work with CI code standard, this particular repository. So that one I'll be checking with Snake and I will import and scan if it is needed. That is done, and here is our CI code standard repository is imported. Now what I am going to do first, I am going to perform a simple Snake scan using our GitHub action, how we did in our previous video. Okay. So here basically this is the code base what we have used earlier. So if you observe this code, it is a very simple GitHub action where we have given the name, and on each push activities in this repository this code should run. Then here the job name is security and runs on Ubuntu latest machine. And then in these steps here first we are doing checkout, and then here we are using the Snake reusable GitHub action to scan our Python code base. Okay. Just we need to configure this Snake token properly, and all the scanned information it will be writing in snake.serif file, which is basically output file which will contain all the vulnerabilities available in it. Okay. Now as part of the next step what we have done, basically this particular file will have kind of JSON data, and that JSON data we have tried to parse using JSON query language. We tried to extract value corresponding to the key runs, and so the first element we are extracting, how we generally extract array element starting from 0 index, and within that we are having another key called results. In that whatever values are there, those are basically indicating what all vulnerabilities are available, and again that result is basically an array. For that we are extracting the length. So these kind of JSON query writing operation often become very complex for complex JSON parsing. So in this video what we will try to do, we will basically perform the same operation using Python programming within this GitHub action. Okay, right? And then as part of the next step here what we are doing, we are just checking whether result length is 0 or not. If it is 0, that means there is no vulnerability, so we are passing this step. But if at all it is not 0, then we are indicating job failed, and then we are sending a Slack notification. Again here we were using a third-party GitHub action to call our Slack webhook and post this particular message. So this kind of request module related work also you can perform using Python code base written by you instead of relying on reusable GitHub action developed by some other developers. Because often it might happen that in third-party GitHub actions there might be some vulnerability available, but whatever code you will be writing there, you can rely more or trust more. From that point of view also, this Python code will help you. So without any further delay, what I will do, I will copy the code base from here and I will quickly create GitHub action in this repository. So here I'll be clicking on plus and then create new file, and then here I'll be giving GitHub, then slash workflows, then slash main.yml, and basically this is the default structure for our GitHub action, and here I'll be pasting the code. This Nike token I need to provide. So as of now I am directly putting here as a raw value, but it is always suggested that you keep that as GitHub secret and use in your GitHub action workflow. So here I'll go to account setting, and then here key I'll be taking, and then here Nike token I'll be pasting that here. Okay, I'm just not keeping that Slack webhook part because our ultimate goal is understanding how we can use Python in GitHub action. Once you understand with one example, you can obviously implement that Python code using request module and complete the Slack's message sending part also. Okay, right? So I'll be committing these changes. Let's see how our GitHub action runs. So before that, let me show you one thing, that if you check this app.py, here we have some hard-coded credential. So obviously Snake will detect that there is some issue with this code base. So let's see. I'll be going to actions, and here our GitHub action is running. So here you can see it has detected the vulnerabilities, right? 2 high, 1 medium, 1 low vulnerability are available in our code base. Obviously, intentionally, I have given some vulnerability in the code so that I can show you the demo. And then obviously the job failed because result length from this JSON query is not equal to 0. So the job is failing because of this if clause. Okay. And if I go to my Snake dashboard, here you will able to see the vulnerabilities are also imported and visible here. So here is our GitHub repository CI code standard, and here also it is showing the same 2 high, 1 medium, 1 low. If you click that particular repo, obviously here you will be getting detailed information about individual vulnerabilities. Like here API key should not be hard coded, right? Secret key should not be hard coded, password should not be hard coded, and so on and so forth. And obviously here if you go to full details, it will basically indicate that how you can resolve these issues. So fix analysis, if you click here, it has given some suggestion also, maybe taking the secrets from environmental variable, etc, etc, right? So those are easily solvable, but our main focus will be now converting this particular code base here in main.yml, whatever we have written here, converting this to a Python code, because this particular part may become complex many times to parse complex JSON data, but rather if we read in a Python code and parse that JSON, that will be much simpler, right? So let me quickly show you that Python code. So here I have already written it. First, we are importing all the required modules. Why I am importing Boto3, I'll be explaining you soon. But import JSON is needed to parse the JSON data and get the dictionary out of it. Import sys is needed because we might need to send that snake.serif file as a Python argument. So to read that Python argument, the file name, for that purpose maybe we need sys, etc, etc. Okay. So here if you see our main code, what we are doing here, first we are reading the file path from Python argument. And then if the file name is not snake.serif file, we are just exiting the code base, because this particular Python code is basically created only to get the count of vulnerabilities in our Snake scan and send an alert. Now what we are doing as part of the next step, if it is a snake.serif file, we are reading that data in a dictionary using json.load, and then whatever operation we have done earlier using JSON query, that is runs is basically a key, right? So data of runs, how generally we extract the value for a particular key in dictionary, that same format we have followed here. Then here if you see of 0, that means array element 0 we are extracting, same we are doing here. And then here what we are doing, dot results. So that means we are now extracting the value corresponding to the key result. So that same thing here we are doing here. And then finally in JSON query we are taking the length. So here I have applied Python length function to get the length for that result array. Okay, so that is basically total vulnerability. If total vulnerability is greater than 0, then what in our earlier GitHub action we were doing, if you observe here in this particular code base, we are obviously filling this particular whole GitHub action, and also we are sending a Slack alert, right? But in this particular video, let me show you how we can send email. So to send email, obviously we can use AWS SES or simple email service. So I have written a simple function to send email, and that will basically send total vulnerabilities available in this code scan. Okay, obviously you can improve this particular function. What we are doing here, basically we are first creating a Boto3 client for our SES. So here you can see the service name is SES, and here I am using access key and secret key as hard-coded value for authentication. But in our production Git system, we should be using GitHub OpenID Connect or OIDC for authentication instead of hard-coded user ID password, right? Because this is not a secured option. So anyway, because this is a POC, so I have just written like this way, and then here I have written a dummy subject that security scan alert, etc., etc. And then here using SES client.send email, we are sending the email. Okay, right? And if at all error occurred within this block, we are just printing the error whatever happened. As simple as that, a very simple Python code. Now, one interesting part what we are doing in this code base, if you see, post the email sending operation, here we are printing the total number of vulnerabilities are this much total files, and here this is a very important part. GHA utils. So what is GHA utils? Here if you see, import GitHub Action utils as GHA utils. So GitHub Action util is basically a very interesting Python module or package, you can say, which can help in writing Python code for your GitHub action. Okay, so from Python, if you want to do certain operations which are specifically related to GitHub actions, that you can perform using GitHub action utils. So here this is the main repository, and here detailed documentation is available how you can utilize that in Python code base. I'm not going through this documentation in detail. Obviously, you can explore. I'll be sharing the link in the description box. But the important part what we are going to explore is one method of GitHub action utils, and that is set out. So here if you see in our earlier code what we were doing, if you see in the GitHub action, first we are extracting the result, and that we are passing in our next step. So it is basically kind of a common pattern in GitHub action that we calculate some value in certain step or some variable data, and that we pass in next step. In Airflow also we do, right, from one job to next job using xcom variable. Following that same manner in GitHub action also, sometimes we might need to send the data from one step to other step. Okay, so that operation if you want to do from Python, how you can do that, let me explain. So for that purpose, in GitHub action utils, we are having a method called set output, using which we can basically configure that in this particular GitHub action step, this output you configure. Okay, so set output, and the variable name, first we are configuring total files, and then whatever value we want to put. So that way, for this particular GitHub action step where this Python code will be running, this particular output variable will be configured and it will be accessible in next steps also. So how we are doing that, let me show you. So here is our modified GitHub action where we are using Python code instead of JSON query. So snake scan part is pretty much same. Now the interesting part is this part. So what we are doing, vulnerability counter and alert, because we are counting as well as we are sending SES email. So for that purpose, first we need to install GitHub Action Utils, the module what I was talking about, and Boto3 also needed, because by default in GitHub Action runtime Boto3 is not available, but we need to install Boto3 to create the SES client. So that purpose we are installing Boto3 also. And then the next part is how we run our Python code generally in any environment, maybe local or EC2. That same pattern we can follow. Python 3, then the complete Python file path, and then this successive file, whatever we want to pass. So here we need to provide our Python code file name. So that I'll be putting here. So first what I will do, I'll be copying my whole Python code, and I'll be putting this within GitHub action. So here I'll be going to add file, create new file, and make sure you are creating this Python file within GitHub workflows only. So create new file, files, counter, and alert.py. Okay, and I'll be pasting my code, as simple as that. The code I'll be providing in the description box, no need to worry about the code. So here I will comment the changes. Okay, right? Now I need to update my GitHub action code. So there what I will do, first the Python file name I'll be updating, right? That is done. So this particular action step, what it will do, it will basically take our successive file, whatever scan has generated. It will be counting how many total number of vulnerabilities are available. It will be sending an alert using SES. Not only that, it will be also configuring total count value as part of the output, and the variable name will be total files. Okay, right? and that if you want to access in the next step, that is pass or fail the job, that you can easily do using this command. That is total vulnerabilities are equal to, so this is a common pattern how you can access the variable of a particular step in another step. That is, first you have to write steps, then dot, then the step name. So in this case, the step name is false, counter and alert, that we are putting, and then dot outputs. This also kind of we have to hard code, and then what output variable from this step you want to access. Okay, so if you see, the variable name is total false, so that only we are keeping, right? And if that particular variable is not equal to 0, we are failing the job, or else we are passing it. As simple as that, right? Simple code, just we are using Python code instead of JSON query here. Okay, so here what I will do, I will update the snake variable value here, snake token, and with this our modified GitHub action is ready. I'll be simply copying this one and I'll be updating my current GitHub action. Okay, as simple as that. I'll commit the changes and let's go back to our GitHub action workflows. So here you can see it is starting the job. It is doing checkout for our repository. Then it is doing this nice scan, obviously where vulnerabilities will be detected. So here you can see vulnerabilities are detected. Now it is running vulnerability counter and alert, which one earlier was running using JSON query, now it is running using Python, but here it is failing. If file name not equal to snake serif, name file name is not defined. Okay, so let's see our Python code once. So okay, sorry, actually it will be 5 we are sorry for this mistake. I'll be quickly updating my Python code base. Our Python code is available here. Committed the changes. Now one more GitHub action should be triggered. So now it is running our Python code. Fingers crossed, hope it will have no error now. And yeah, this step is passed. Okay, so first it has done the installation, and here you can see total number of vulnerabilities are 7. Okay, so let's validate with our snake dashboard also. I'll be going to projects and I'll be going to my repository, and here you can see total 7 issues are available. That means our Python code is properly counting total number of vulnerabilities available. Okay, and the next step is failing because total false not equal to 0. Okay, vulnerability found, failing the job, right? So this is how you can use Python code within your GitHub action to solve complex problems like JSON data parsing or API call, etc., etc. Obviously, you can interact with AWS services also, or any of your cloud services as well using Python modules. Like here, we have tried to send an email using SES. So let's see whether we receive the email or not. So I'll be refreshing my email account. Maybe sometime it may go to spam box also. Just check the spam box also. And here you can see at 11:41, one mail came. Currently it is 11:40. That means just now came. I can go inside that, and here it is beautifully showing 7 vulnerabilities detected. Dear stakeholders, our recent security scan has identified 7 total vulnerabilities in the code base. Immediate action is required to address the security findings. So here obviously you can improve the body or header part, that is not a problem. Our main intention was to understand how you can utilize Python within GitHub Action and solve certain tasks within your CI/CD pipelines, right? I hope you understood this. All you have to do is keep your code base within .github/workflows directory, whatever Python code you want to keep, and then you can call it how you normally run any Python code in any environment. That following that same manner, you can basically call this Python code. And another important thing is this GitHub Action Utils module, using which you can set up output variable for any GitHub Action step, which variable value GitHub Action can access in its next step, right? Obviously, there are other interesting stuffs as well available in this GitHub Action Utils module. I will be sharing this link. Try to explore this, play with this, then you will be having much better idea out of it. So this is all for this video. If you find this video helpful, then please like, share and comment. Subscribe our channel if you have not subscribed till now. And don't forget to press the bell icon to get notification of our latest videos. Thank you for watching.